This is a quick video to try to answer the question of where exactly is Fallout New Vegas. Quick background. The end of September, I had more or less finished Fallout 3, and I had a vacation coming up. I decided to use the time that I would be away to upload as much of my upload backlog as possible, although it turned out that I really didn't need to. I only had one video amounting to maybe 6 hours of upload time, so everything was pretty much ready to go. When it came to the final episode of Fallout 3, in the Broken Steel DLC, I started to run into some problems. After recording the first attempt at the mission, taking about 2 hours, not including crashes, restarts, inevitable bugs, etc., etc., I got to the final area and realized that despite being literally 2 minutes away, I couldn't actually beat the final battle. So I needed to restart. Again, after a little bit of redoing the prep work, it was another roughly 2 hours of recording, thanks to bugs, etc., etc., to get that hammered out. Anyway, after much frustration and finally getting everything up and running, I got the recording done, the editing finally done, yay for having to stitch together dozens of pieces, and I was pretty much ready to upload it. I decided to take a couple of days just to unwind a little bit after the numerous crashes of Fallout 3. Yay for various concussions and other head injuries. Watch pretty much any of the Fallout 3 videos and you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, right about that time, it was pretty much call it the 1st of October, and I had a family problems crept up. It didn't really affect my available free time so much as it affected my ability to have large blocks of quiet recording time. People aren't running around in the house, so on and so forth. Anyway, long story short, that ended up being most of October. I did get a couple of episodes recorded, and due to some bad decision making on my part, and only a single crash throughout basically 6 hours of recording, I actually had to scrap the entire session up to that point. Not a big deal, as it wasn't really that frustrating, and I hadn't done any editing, so I scrapped that and redid it. Started redoing Fallout New Vegas from scratch. No big deal. It's actually very fun, although by the time I sort of got through to the actual recording part, that was the third time in about 3 weeks I had played through the first 6 hours, and it got interesting. And I'll mention it in another video. Anyway, moving on, finally got the first bit of the game recorded. Only had a couple of minor issues. Then I started running into it's the Goodsprings defense with the guy up in the gas station. Anyway, got to that point. I had actually gone a little bit off track, ran down to Prim first to do something a little bit different than the same sort of cookie cutter start. So came back, prepped for the gunfight, and then set it off, no big deal. And then this weird thing happened. For some strange reason, the powder gangers, who are supposed to basically be escaped convicts, who have access to large quantities of dynamite and other explosives, as well as relatively small caliber guns, maybe 9mm, maybe 10mm, 20, I think 22s, and maybe the odd hunting rifle. Suddenly started packing plasma rifles in very good condition, energy weapons, things that you would expect more towards the area near the strip. And what are these guys doing with these weapons? Well, that wasn't actually the main problem. It did result in the AI for the townspeople doing incredibly stupid things. Again, and again, and again. So, without dragging this on too much further, it took several attempts at getting the actual combat to be combat-y instead of the AI being completely stupid. Got everything up and running, and managed to make it through that. Set off from Goodsprings, headed south, and started to sort of get into the deeper wasteland, as it were. A couple shortcuts here and there for story purposes, and made it to about episode 6 worth of recording. Got episode 5 and whatnot caught up and edited, and then I looked at the calendar, and lo and behold, it's the 1st of November. So, if you've actually managed to stick around for the entire thing thus far, quick recap. Planned vacation end of September, family stuff October, managed to do a little bit of recording, but at this point, it's November, and I could either really try and rush through New Vegas, and it's not really going to work, or I'm going to change the plan slightly and incorporate New Vegas into a slightly editing the order. So, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, Fallout 4 modded is the new plan. So it's still in there. It's just a matter of getting the appropriate free time and the appropriate quiet times to all line up. So anyway, with that said and done, I shall go ahead and actually cover some other related news that has been piling up. So, news and updates, so on and so forth, for September and October. And I might as well throw in November into this thing so I can do it all in one shot. So, news was, is, and will continue to be revolving around Fallout. As I've already mentioned, Fallout 3 is finished, or at least the main story is. I do have a bit of an additional project I'm going to be working on sort of as time permits, and as after I've had a chance to step away and sort of address things in the context of Fallouts 3, New Vegas, and 4. I'm going to be going back through, and actually with all three sort of stories, go back through and do a director's commentary of sorts. It's the sort of thing that you see on DVDs these days. You've got the main movie, and then voiced over director's commentary, or outtakes, stuff on the cutting room floor, so on and so forth. I'm not expecting these to be very long, and I'm not expecting there to be one for every episode. I'm expecting maybe 3-ish hours for Fallout 3, and sort of a 40 episodes equates to about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour worth of commentary for about an hour's worth of, or 10 episodes worth of gameplay. So, just as a general idea of what I'm thinking about so far. Just going over things like what I was thinking about, how I was doing the story, how all that stuff was progressing, so on and so forth. Absolutely no timetable for that so far, but I am going to try to release those in either all at once or more likely large segments, so probably episodes 1 through 8, 9 through 16, and so on and so forth, and sort of go from there. Again, I've got the sort of notes and the background and all that stuff already more or less laid out. I'm just not sure about the presentation of it. Let's see. Just looking over my notes real quick. As I've already mentioned, Fallout New Vegas is on unexpected hiatus due to Fallout 4 releasing in basically 6 hours. Yay for timing. I do have the first 5 episodes already ready. I did have some issues with YouTube and the music, and I really wish a AAA title, a highly anticipated AAA title, would release with music that isn't going to get everybody who's trying to get into video stuff having a bunch of issues with YouTube and whatever. I don't mind the copyright stuff. I do mind that it's a big freaking mess and I don't want to have to deal with it. So, without getting too much more off topic, there was also some issue with the music. It took me several shots at getting it right, and sort of getting the intro to the story in a position where I feel I can sort of deal with that stuff if it comes up again. Anyway, so Fallout New Vegas first, the intro and the first 5 episodes are already uploaded. I'm going to be holding on to those for the immediate future until I can get sort of New Vegas back in the play schedule. I will be reordering the all of the playlists to both accommodate the new scheduling and the new commentary system that I'm going to be trying to implement. So if anybody's watching this and they're in the middle of a playlist and the playlist suddenly changes, just a heads up, hopefully you'll watch this video before that one and you'll know what's going on, hopefully. Let's see. Also, in New Vegas, as it is very dark, I have been trying to work on the darkness issues. I do know that YouTube likes to go in and take a light grayish thing and make it completely pitch black. I don't have night vision yet. I do know where there is some night vision, and I've added a couple of mods specifically for low light vision, thermal vision, things like that. I have been trying to work on that a little bit in post, but it's still a little bit touchy, and YouTube, I really wish you would get a better darkness thing. So that's the darkness issue, and that's the New Vegas thing, and I'm looking at the old notes. So, I think that's it for the news and so on and so forth. Just as a possible issue, I have looked at the system requirements for Fallout 4, and they are... my computer's actually a little bit interesting. When I built it to be upgraded at a later date. Unfortunately, said upgrades never really happened. So I've got a very powerful processor, at the time, slightly more than was recommended amount of RAM. Realistically, it wasn't enough. Of course, when is RAM never enough? And at the time, a very solid video card. Unfortunately, said video card died, but however, it was still under warranty, so I did get a very minor upgrade to that. Unfortunately, it's at this point, I'd only say about a mid-tier video card, and probably lower middle at this point. So I shouldn't have any trouble running Fallout 4. I may have some minor issues actually recording it. If I can't get it to record well, then I'm actually looking at getting some, I'm looking at upgrading some hardware here relatively soon. So if the first part of the Fallout 4, sorry, let me restart that. If Fallout 4 won't currently record well, and it very well might not, I'm going to have to go and sort of do what I can. I've been trying to avoid spoilers for 4 as much as possible, just sort of watching there's a couple of sort of light comedic bits that I've seen. I know a little bit about the crafting system, and I know sort of that whatever system they're using isn't skill-based, ? Basically whatever's on the Steam page. And I haven't really been scoring around that too much, except to find the system requirements. So, I really would like to do my first, the first Let's Play part blind. I will try my best to record it, but if it doesn't work, I'm sort of in a pickle. I really don't want to try and dodge Fallout 4 spoilers for the next basically month and a half until I can get some upgrades, but at the same time I would really like to do this blind, so I'll see what happens. Anyway, this video is actually going on almost 18 minutes, so I might want to cut this short if I can, so I can get it uploaded while it's actually still relevant. So, right, about Fallout 4, if it works, well, I know it'll work, I know it'll run unless something horribly bad happens, but I'm not sure if it's going to work well, and I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to record it. So, worst case scenario, the first bit is going to be a little bit flaky, and then at some point, probably about the time the mods start coming out, the quality may suddenly improve. So anyway, until next time, and which will hopefully not be several months down the road, stay safe.